Hey guys, welcome back. Another episode of Two Tamers Talk. First of all, congratulations, Texas Rangers. It's been about 63 years since their franchise, first World Series. It was kind of fun to be in Arizona watching you guys win that, even though it wasn't my team. But I'm back. I'm ready to do Digimon. I'm ready to focus on regionals. And today, I have in the house my man Jordan.
What's up, everybody?
Yeah, so I'm really glad that you could join us this week because we got a couple things we want to talk about this episode. Pre-release, we'll talk about that in a little bit for BT14. First, we got regionals coming up. So this is coming out Friday, and regionals is on Sunday. So we will be there. Most of the Digital Gate Studio staff will be there. Come find us. Come hang out. Come say hi. Whatever you want. You got a bunch of Hawkmon cards. Come bring them. I'll sign them. Or Justimon or whatever. But no, man, it's going to be a crazy weekend. This whole week is kind of a Digimon-based week for a lot of reasons. So we're recording this on a Wednesday. I think most of you guys know our recording schedule 9 now, but sometimes it just helps put that in the back of the mind. Thursday, or starting today and starting tomorrow, the Digimon movie is out, Series 2, so we're very excited about that. Jesse is not at all new to the franchise or know the franchise very well, so I specifically told him that I want him on the podcast next week to do a movie review. See what he thought from an outside perspective, and he hates reading movies too, and it's in subtitles. So
is Thursday the subtitled one?
I think Thursday.
Oh man, and the thing is, he doesn't like the Imperial line either. He likes the Old Force line of Vmon.
Yeah, so he's gonna watch Vmon going to the wrong mega the whole entire time, right? Well, no, I just think it's going to be such a good time, and I think I would have preferred myself to go to the dubbed one, but it's today, and I don't want to miss locals. This is my last locals testing before regionals, and I really want to be able to go, and so...
And you're playing Blue Flare?
Playing Blue Flare today. I'm playing Blue Flare in regionals. I've decided it's just a matter of there's a couple cards I'm still tweaking here and there, so I'm going to try one thing today and see how it works, and then we'll do probably a bunch of testing the night before regionals from the weekend when we're at our Airbnb and be able to make some tweaks there. I'll have like my pile of cards that could come out of the deck, whatever. So.
Is Howling Crusher one of them?
Howling Crusher is not in that, unfortunately. So that's not really like my playstyle. Like I know why it's a good card, and I understand. I mean, that's a great question, first of all. But for me, it's like I don't want to mess with Howling Crusher. For me, it's either do I play the one of Ice Wall, which most people are probably going to say yes. But today I'm going to take it out again, see what I think. How many like red security tech Greymon do I play? And then just how many Soul Rise do I play? You know, just kind of like those finalizing questions because we've been playing the same deck I've been playing the same deck for way longer than I've been used to. And I'm at the point now where I got to, put the money or show where all the work is going into, right? So
what is your mental state or mentality going into this regionals? Because you guys have to travel. I mean, you're flying down.
So for me, my first mental state is unprepared. Last week being in Arizona for a couple days, and then I've just been so busy with work, with school, with all this stuff that I haven't had enough time to jump on webcam practice like everybody else has. So for me, it's a little bit like a cram session, but my entire life I've been pretty good at cramming. So we're going to see how it does. I definitely am going to ask our awesome community, especially those that are with us in the room, to bring Black War Gray and Shine Gray so I can test that a bunch before the event. But my mentality is kind of just doing the same thing that you're supposed to be doing every game, right? Understanding, don't try to hope for a move that is not going to happen. Play with the cards in your hand. Look what's on the field. Be careful. Take a second to breathe before making your move because locals, we've developed a really good scene, and I love our group of guys. Very friendly. A lot of times we're very encouraging to newer players where it's like, hey, I think it was last week or the week before I played, I was coaching somebody, and I was like, hey, man, you probably shouldn't do that. Let's do this instead.
Right.
And at regionals, it's like that card hits the table. It's on the table. You've paid the memory.
Once you bet,
Once you've done it, you don't really get to do that whole take back, and I think that's totally fair in a competitive standpoint. You know what I'm saying? But you brought up a good point. We are traveling. We are having to deal with being out of our home element without the comforts that we're used to and stuff like that. So I think it's just having that mentality of being focused on what my deck does, and part of the reason why I picked an aggressive deck.
Right.
Because it's just so much easier when you're going into an event like this where if you only have to think of how fast can I get my aggression on and put the pressure on and whatnot, then kind of everything else you can kind of let go and you don't have to remember everything. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, you guys are at an advantage too because it is in person. Yeah. So that's a whole different gamut than playing from home. Like a lot of these, I feel like a lot of players on webcam, they like being in the comfort of their home.
Absolutely.
Maybe they're not really I don't want to say they're not good at like in-person events,
Yeah.
but I feel like you take a whole element of intimidation and like a whole lot of the psychological out when you do a webcam, because like I'm big on that, and like I think body language, it says a lot during an event.
Yeah.
And you can kind of tell if your opponent's timid or not, and you can like kind of flip the script. But at the same time, when you're playing against all these strangers, you don't care. You're like, I have no dog in this fight. I don't feel anything towards you.
Yep.
I'm just gonna slap cards down and turn them sideways, and I'm running you over.
Yeah.
And like, unless you're gonna get to like, it may be fun to like play against somebody you know, but I mean, it's a 500-man tournament.
Yes.
And we know, like, we maybe know like 10 people that are going, if that.
Yeah.
So I think like that's a whole aspect in itself, just like body language and the confidence going in, because like everybody who's going know Digimon. They've all pretty much topped. I think if they played in regionals, like you, I don't think you and Jesse have ever. You played in a regionals way back when the game first started. But I don't think Jesse's ever played in one. And so James, who did the BL Star video and the Beelzemon video way back when,
he's been playing tons of events. He's definitely getting prepared.
So he's getting prepared too. But I don't think he's ever done a regionals either.
Yeah.
But he's playing Black War Gray Toolbox.
Yes. Yes.
So I know he's been grinding that out. But I mean, like I think it's going to be a cool event for you guys.
Yes.
Because there's also that, if you ever, for some reason, you guys get wiped, you can do that 3v3, which I think is an interesting concept.
Yeah, Jacob was talking about those side events, so we're kind of looking forward. Well, a lot of the big thing, too, is, and you brought a great point of the webcam versus in-person event.
Right.
Right. So playing in webcam, you kind of don't get to get that body language of, does your opponent have the one card in their hand that will stop your move, right? And sometimes you can read people a little bit different when you're playing in person. So I'm curious to see how much that's going to be a factor.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I never really tried to base my entire strategy on, what ifs and whatnot. It's part of the reason I'm playing an aggressive deck, right? Because I'm an aggressive player. That's kind of naturally my play style, is kind of just swinging, getting that pressure on early. And so I'm just kind of sticking to my guns, doing what I do best. And I've been practicing this deck for so long.
Right.
I now know what most of these cards, what all the cards do completely, thanks to all of our testing that we've done.
And the comments,
on
the
the
YouTube
webcam.
comments.
Yeah, you guys have been great. So I cannot wait to get down there. I cannot wait to meet the other 490 plus people that I don't know at this event. And I know all the games are going to be good. It's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting to see, because one of the things that we have in our little isolated corner of the country is we have a good Digimon scene, where sometimes you hear people on Facebook talk or whatever where their scene maybe is not so great. They're getting out of the game, whatever. And it's, it's not that it's a regional based game, but I kind of want to experience one of these big Digimon's events and see what it's like, see what the energy's going, the positivity. I want to see how Bandai runs this thing. So it's going to be this whole thing. Guys, stay tuned to the channel. We're going to do some content related to the event. We're going to do some afterthoughts, maybe next week's episode as well. Jesse and I will do a review of what we thought of the event, how it was run, what we think of. I'm sure it's going to be a positive future in general of the game, but I think this will help solidify some answers for sure. But
more in-person events, hopefully more in-person, regionals.
Yeah, so
all on webcam, because another issue I have with webcam is like you can't really read your opponent's cards. You can't be like, hey, may I see this?
Yes,
like you don't. I'm not saying they don't completely know, but also like sometimes they may skip a word or two on the card, and that's very important.
Yeah.
So I think in person just has a whole element.
Yeah.
And then it's completely different. But
absolutely,
I think you guys are gonna crush it. I mean, we got already some people who are trying to gatekeep, it seems like, that have already placed multiple regionals, and so get extra cool art cards, because those cards are sick. All the alt arts are pretty dope.
I'm looking forward to that, and it's gonna be one of those cool things where we'll be able to see the cost of us entering, how well we did. Maybe hopefully all of us are in the top 16. I mean, honestly, hopefully all of us are tied for first. But, maybe we'll be able to do some like comparisons of this is, if you place this was your pricing. If you place this is what your pricing is. It's going to be really interesting to see how all that goes. Because I do think playing in these events, they do give you lots of good pricing, especially for the webcam stuff. It takes a while when they mail it, but they always mail it. I've never once not gotten my stuff. I remember doing that beta test for the Digimon Online where they gave you a Pulsemon. It took months to get that Pulsemon. And that's, like probably maybe the card wasn't even made or printed or whatever.
Right.
But it was just one of those things that's like, it'll come. You'll get your prize for support for sure. So
and
very much looking forward to this.
And I think the cool thing is if you do place, top 16, you get basically a 2-round bye for the Nationals.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's a bigger incentive to crush it and do well.
It's interesting, though, because sometimes when you have the bye, like, for example, I'm obviously a huge baseball fan. Most of you guys know that by now. All the teams that had a bye in baseball in the playoffs didn't do so hot the first series because they had a break. They cooled off. And sometimes you don't want to cool off. So be interesting if that is a factor at all to the people who win nationals. I really don't think it's going to be, because I do think having, especially with the luck-based card game versus a skill-based sport.
Right, yeah.
Where it's having the cards in hand, you're actually increasing your chances of doing well by not playing against some particular matches being randomly paired, right? So
that one deck you didn't prepare
for. It'd be interesting to see if that rust factor is kind of real on the 2-round bye, but I don't.
I think it's a good knowledge game, because you can walk around for 2 rounds, see when people are playing, and then you may have seen your opponent play that you get if they reach it to you by round 3.
Yeah,
you're like, oh, I know what I need to do.
Yeah.
I know what you're playing.
Seeing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And sometimes with these large events, when you play in the first round or the first couple rounds, you play against people that maybe didn't bring the most meta deck, and they're kind of just there having fun with their favorite Digimon, and I love that. I absolutely want everybody to do that for sure.
That's what I've been doing with the Skull Mammoth.
But by the time you get to round 3, you're starting to go against the serious of the serious. So it'd be interesting to see, and sometimes having that warm-up game against an easy opponent in round 1 just because they decided to bring some jank, whatever, Eosmon, and you're like, okay, cool. Now I'm kind of feeling good. I'm feeling, positive about this whole event. Some warm-up, right? But no, I'm excited for this regionals. It's going to be a blast. Again, we're all going to come down there. We're all going to be there. Come find us. Come hang out. Whatever. Can't wait to meet all you guys. But one last question for you about regionals. Do you have a prediction of what deck is going to win?
Ooh, that's tough. Shine Gray, probably.
You think
I think there's going to be a lot of Shine Gray and a lot of Belf because of the restrictions coming up.
So I want to get out of the way now.
I think Shine is just a menace to play against. It's just I mean, it can do pretty bad if they brick, but I mean, the chances of that happening are pretty slim because they just search everything out, and then they can just have their Marcus swing. Like, they can do it with 3 memory. They can end the game. They just drop the Agumon.
Yep.
And then, because that happened to me, and then they just swing with the Marcus. And so it's like, I think it's gonna be Shine. I think people are gonna try and do Ulforce, but I think people are I don't want to say like misunderstanding, but I don't think they kind of comprehend the full scope of that deck.
Sure.
I know Jesse's probably gonna be playing it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it takes a lot of practice. It's not something you could just pick up and play, even if you've been playing it for a week or 2. Like, it's not one of those type of decks. Because the regionals I was in, Ulforce won, and he was playing, I think, 4 Death X maybe. I know he's playing at least 2 Death X.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I mean, Ulforce is a strong deck, and it can bounce everything. So like, if it goes into a Belfamon, but I think Shine Gray is gonna take it. I know Cross has been, or Hunters has been I got that mixed up last podcast, but Hunters has been a menace. But I think you're going to see Shine. I think you're going to see at least 2 Shine.
Yeah. So I'm definitely curious to see what the top results. And, of course, we'll let you know about that as well next week, who won, whatever we can find out, because we're curious, too. I'm thinking a Wargrey is going to win. I'm thinking a Wargrey Toolbox, and not just because I've been talking a lot with James, but, I just think that a lot of people that know how to play Wargrey do a really good job responding to people, and I see some good faith in that. Also, the OTK Black or Gray that's been starting to pop up with Basil and them playing it. It's just one of those things that I think that has a very good chance as well of winning. So that's what my gut's telling me. But you know what? I have to go into the event just knowing I'm gonna win the whole thing.
Right. And I think you're gonna see. I think one security control is gonna sneak in the top 8.
Yeah, because
it does stop a lot of those OTK decks. Because the only counter really is a Delicate Plan, but who's gonna tech that in?
Some people don't want to take up that card.
Because you have Lonk, a lot of Destro, or however you use that card, and you have Chaos Dag, and those completely shut down those decks. And so, and even if they were to run into the Shadow Seraphi and the minus the DP, so
security control has the hardest time at regionals because.
I think it just comes down to time.
It comes down to time. They take a while to play. They tie a lot, right? So the pairing sometimes, for sure. And then all security control has to do is play that one rogue deck that they because let's say they build a deck to counter 85% of the meta, 90% of the meta, whatever. They go against that one rogue deck that beats security control with no problem. Then they're just, screwed out of the rankings. So
true.
It's one of those things, luck. Again, this is a luck-based game, luck-based with rankings, pairings, blah, blah, blah. I'm definitely going to be trying to my best to take notes of all my rounds so I can talk about them and just see the decks that I played and mistakes I made, because I like to share with you guys awesome audience. Thank you so much, by the way. You guys have been killing it on the subs. You've been killing it. The likes, comments, all that stuff. Huge shout out to the fans. But I want to be able to take, like, hey, this is what I did game 1. I should have played this. I made this mistake. I wasn't counting for this, because I want to share that with everybody.
Right.
I like talking about it. I love being able to have people learn from the mistakes that I make. This is kind of like who I am as a person. So I'm very much looking forward to regionals.
Well, good luck.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah. Good luck to all of us. Good luck to everybody watching that is going to be there. Again, I think it's going to be a blast. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So let's briefly talk. What do you expect out of this Digimon movie? And are you think it's going to be good? And, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's going to be a good nostalgia trip. Yeah. I've been verbal, like, I didn't really, like, try. Like, I tried watching them and I fell asleep. Like, and so I think it's going to be cool, because I think people have fatigue on, like, Matt and Ty. And everybody's been really anticipating, like, the O2 people coming back. Yeah. Because it's been, like, was it them that was like they're like lost or whatever? They just haven't been spoken about, or like they're like there. But
so like Digimon Try, they were like featured, and we kind of got like a little hint that they were still involved, but they didn't do anything in Digimon Try. Like we saw their older, appearance and stuff like that. And so I've been really looking forward to this, because I think it's like a fresh start to series, or not a start, but like I don't want to say reboot. Reboot's not the word I'm looking for either.
Like a refresh.
Like a refresh. Yeah.
Yeah, because like we were I don't know how old you were. I'm a little older than you, but like, it's like, oh, dang, it's about time, because that's been 20 years. And so it's about dang time that they finally gave them their own movie. Like, nobody cares about Cody, because Cody is just like a simple dude. But I mean, like Davis is like super edgy, and like, Yole or whatever her name is, and all them. So it'll be really cool to see them again.
It's all about Ken and Davis for sure.
Like,
there's a reason why.
Friend no jutsu. But I think it'll be I think it's something that's been long awaited. I think a lot of fans are super excited. I think, like you've been mentioning, it's going to show Bandai that there is an audience in the West still.
Yes. That's what I'm concerned about.
Despite what they may believe. And like I'm personally happy we're seeing the dub or the subbed version. Okay. Because I like seeing a lot of that stuff in the original form that it's in. Sure. So like a lot of anime I watch sub. I mean, absolutely. There's nothing wrong with dub. From what I remember, the English voice acting was pretty good. Yeah. But then again, I was also a kid, so I just
I agree with you too. I usually generally, like when I watch my anime, especially a lot of the newer stuff, I watch sub for the most part. But it's very nice when you can kind of just at a movie theater sit back, relax.
Yeah. You don't have to read the whole thing.
Stare at the bottom of the screen, and you can like see the whole thing. So hopefully the fight scenes are really good. I'm looking forward to it. I'm very curious what the whole cast is. We have a new character, a new Digimon coming in. And with some of this, we have some promo cards.
Right. So we are getting those promo packs?
Hopefully. So the way it's supposed to work is if you go to the movie, you're supposed to be given a promo pack. And
first
it's like
50.
First for whatever. Yeah, 50. So maybe it's today that they get it and tomorrow they don't. I don't know how that's going to work. So we'll report back to you next week on if we got the packs or not, because I'm definitely hoping to get some, because I want to update some decks with those. I think it's really going to be really refreshing to be able to build some of these characters again. Right. And I think they did a good job of what the colors are. I think the Vmon and the Hawkmon and the Worm are just the best surface value looking at it. But the Armadillomon can evolve on a yellow level 2. And then all of its armor forms, Digmon, Submarine Mon, can Digivolve on top of any Armadillomon. So I think it's still going to be able to fit in the deck. So it's going to be cool to see some Armadillo rushed deck lists. Hopefully, I know we have a great friend of the channel that loves that.
A lot of people have been looking for Armadillo support, because it's like he's kind of got the shaft, but then again, he's unfortunately, tied to Cody. So
not a lot of people like Cody.
And what's crazy too is we have these cards, but then they get premium Bandai. There's the premium Bandai set of the exact same cards. I mean, they look super awesome, but it's like really now already we're getting those alt arts, and so it's kind of annoying a little bit, because it's like, then what's the point of getting the movie cards, And and what's funny is the show we're going to only has 36 seats as it is.
So hopefully we all get one,
hopefully
right?
we're able to get those packs, because that'd be crazy if we didn't. They're just like, oh no, we don't have enough. It's like, what do you mean? There's only 36 people here. Yeah.
Well,
you got the one showing. Like, how do you not have enough? And then, by the way, we're gonna try and score a couple extra. Just
we'll do what we can. Of course. For me, like the alternate arts, like I'm not necessarily upset about, like you are, but
I'm not upset about it. I just think it's weird to like do these packs.
I see.
But then at the same time, you have the premium Bandai, so it's like, what's the incentive? I guess.
Sure. For me, it's the fact that I'm tired of playing meta decks and I need a break, and I cannot wait to show up at locals after regionals with Hawkmon Armor Rush again. Hopefully, I have my playset of these Hawkmons by then.
Yeah.
And the Yoleis. I'm going to tinker with that a little bit because I need a break. I need a break from, I love my Blue Flare, do not get me wrong, and I think if I was playing something harder to play in the meta right now, I would probably be even more exhausted.
Right.
But I just want to go back to playing some jank for a week or two. Man. Just take a little break, take it easy, right? Even if I go last place, I don't care. I'm looking forward to that. So for me, I want the Hawkmons now. I don't want to wait till June, which is, you said the release date was of those alt arts.
Yeah, and like it's 3 cards per pack, I believe, and there's a total of 14.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're not very expensive. I just looked up the white rookie on TCG, and it was $2. I mean, they're going to be obtainable, so it's, it's not a stretch. Because
it's going to be interesting for sure.
Yeah. So, I think those white cards are really interesting. I don't know how well they're going to do.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see how once they become legal, how people take them.
I definitely think Eosmon got a lot from those cards, from the Tamer and the white level 3. I think there's a lot that you can do there. But I also think that they do have a place, and I like the direction Bandai was trying something new with this, because to have a white level 3 that can digivolve on any color egg, kind of like a universal level 3, that's really interesting. And I want to see what Bandai can do with that mechanic in the future and kind of, open the doors to things, right? Because now we're starting to see 3-color Digimon in that beefy Magnamon X.
Yeah.
That is just going to blow the doors off of a lot of stuff. It's yellow, black, blue.
Yep.
First 3-color card we've gotten. And then, we've had the Susanoo that can digivolve in any color previously. Right. But, like usually level 3s, when the multicolor Digivolution started, it costs 1 to digivolve unless you want a specific tribal egg. So now we're having just a 0 cost, any color. It's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, because it could really only be used in Eosmon because it's a white rookie, so you can't digivolve on top of it.
I think people will come up with some clever ways. I think there will be some clever ways that we right now are so tunnel vision on regionals that we're not even thinking about new stuff.
Well, I mean, some new stuff.
We are. And speaking of new stuff, what do we have coming up?
Pre-release.
BT14. So what do you think? I'll dive into pre-release strategies in a sec. Out of BT14, what are you looking forward to make, and how excited are you for new cards?
I think pre-release is going to be a blast.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to a lot of the black stuff. I like them when you're talking about introducing new stuff and new mechanics. We get deck manipulation.
Yeah.
Which is going to be bonkers because not only is it deck manipulation, you delete stuff off of that Ebimon.
Yeah.
I think that card and then another big thing I'm a fan of is on play and when digivolving effects. So I think a lot of the black stuff is gonna be insane because there's just it's the aliens.
Yeah.
And I like that we're getting a lot more jamming across different colors.
Yeah.
And then also a lot more evade. I think that's the issue. And then red's getting the can't play by effects. The Gotsumon.
That's pretty cool.
So I like that they're finally starting to spread the love a little bit across all the other colors instead of just giving like 1 or 2 colors that like the can't play by effects or the evade and jamming and all that, because I think it allows for more creativity when deck building. And I think I don't want to say that's kind of lacking from the game, but I think it's kind of deterring people. But and speaking of deterring, like people are still kind of on the fence about blast digivolutions.
Yeah.
But we've talked about it before. Like you need to have the source there, and like if they think that's bad, that new Magnamon is pretty wild too. And it's like, and the new Magnamon X. But for blast digivolving, I think it's gonna be fun. I think it's a good mechanic, risk reward, and I think for pre-release, it's gonna be a free for all. It's gonna be it's gonna be a bloodbath with those cards because you get just rainbow digivolve. So I think the set as a whole is going to be pretty cool. Yeah. I don't like the War Gray. I don't think that card needed to be printed. Sure. I think it's insane. Yes, it's a secret rare, but it's like, do we really need another War Gray in one?
We do, man. It's the mascot.
And that powerful, though? That War Gray is out of control. I'm sorry, but like, it's, we'll see how it works out for people, but like, that card is nuts. And, I mean, because it get all the perk. It gets like pseudo blitz, I think, and then piercing, security pack plus 20 if you have the tie out. So basically, you just digivolve. You have the black ties out, get all that DP buff, and then get security plus, and it's just like Why Bandai?
Yeah, no, I remember talking a couple episodes, well, maybe more of a couple episodes because it's been a while now, but when we started getting these Japanese card reveals, the big thing I was talking about when we started seeing these was the kind of like, I don't want to say a reboot, but like a soft reboot or a soft reset maybe of the game kind of happening with this set in general, because now we're getting ace cards. Every color seems to have some pretty good support.
Dudamon is actually a useful Digimon now.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite designs of all time. It's sick. So I'm really looking forward to how the BT14 meta evolves and changes things. You're wrong. You're not wrong. Where that Wargray is insanely strong, and there's been tons of stuff given to Wargray already. But I do think that they did a good job of bringing every playfield up. Because to me, like perfect example is Yellow. When I look at the TK, the Angemon, the Patamon, all this, that stuff's wild. And to me, that kind of always felt like what BT1 Yellow should have done. Obviously, they couldn't have done it back there. The power creep, all that stuff for sure. But to me, it always seemed like taking more advantage of your security. I mean, even BT1 TK was looking at your security, grab a card.
And recover.
Right? So now it's like all of a sudden, boom, Angels is getting some pretty good support. The TK is going to come in relevant again. So BT14 is going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
I'm kind of disappointed that we are not going to be able to make a pre-release in our area just because of the fact that we're going to be at regional. So for good reason. Otherwise, we'd be there. But we do have pre-release season coming. It should be happening this weekend, so tomorrow. So hopefully you guys are all tuning in just to this part to get some pre-release tips and tricks from Jordan, because he's going to lay them on him. What do you got for us?
Yeah, so I've kind of self-titled myself as King Suka of pre-release because I think I've won 4 or 5 different sets of pre-release.
You always come close.
Even
if
across,
you don't win.
Even in like Magic, I played recently. Like I still got top. I topped in it, and then another card game I topped. So I'm pretty good at pre-release. I think the biggest thing, so I love pre-release because it's the great equalizer.
Yes.
That's what I've always called it, because you can't buy your way into a win.
Unless you don't get any Jumbo Gamimons.
Right.
Last pre-release, because I lost so bad at pre-release because of that.
Yeah. And like, I think so it's a great equalizer, but it also tests you as a player because it comes down to fundamentals. You got to know how the deck build. You got to know what cards do, and you have to know like order of effects. And then you have to just play with the cards you're dealt. And I think a lot of players, it's a good opportunity to test their limits.
Yeah.
And to see, and also play with cards they would never play with. And so I think that's the biggest thing that's missing from like, if you're just like a meta player essentially, and you aren't playing in pre-releases, you just play meta. I think you're missing a lot of the fun of just seeing how janky some cards can be, which is always great. Yeah. And then, so yeah, I think it just mostly comes down to that and your just game knowledge. And that's like, because everyone in this room has done super well in pre-releases. I think we've all at least won 1 or 2.
Yep.
And so it's one of those things too, to where it's just open your packs, see what you got, sort your levels out, because it's a 40 card deck, and so you kind of have to, cater to that as well.
Yeah.
But the fun part is you can just play Mega Zoo and do fine. Like, remember, it was a BT11 when you had the Surfymon and the Griffamon? Was it 11 or 12? The 10 drop 13k bodies?
Yeah.
Because if they check into security, they're hitting a 13k body. Like, the chances are their Digimon's deleted.
Exactly. That was insane. I mean, so pre-release, definitely looking forward to it. It's going to be a blast. Can't wait to see the results. Guys, if you're not in our Discord, Wayward City Games, they do an awesome job with the Discord. He always posts the winners podium section.
Right.
The winners, and I'm sure the deck list. I'm sure the picture of the winner. Hopefully we see you on there.
Hopefully.
It's gonna be on there, but pre-release is gonna be fun. I think there's a lot of cool cards. We were talking a lot about good jammers. Talking a lot about blockers. So I think
blocker inheritable on rookies, just blocker inheritable. So that's
insane.
When you get the rainbow Digivolve, that comes in super handy.
Yep.
Blast Digivolving is gonna be wild if you're able to get those cards, because you can just put it's rainbow Digivolve, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I think, because most people are playing a 6-pack, like we're fortunate enough to do a box and a 6-pack, but just before the 6-packs, you really, really got to look at your commons and uncommons. I mean, unfortunately, you have to play with those, but also, fortunately, you have to play with those, because it goes back to what I said, to where like you get to see what these cards do and how they work in certain situations.
Sure.
I think one of the better cards that I just said is Ebamon. It's on play when digivolving. I have it right here. You reveal your opponent's deck, so it's crazy. So on play when digivolving, your opponent reveals top 3 cards of their deck. Choose one Digimon card among them. Delete up to its play cost total worth of your opponent's Digimon. So you can essentially board clear.
Yeah.
And then return the card to the top or bottom of the deck.
So then you can put it at the bottom if it's something you don't like.
So if they happen to get the Wargray and you reveal the Wargray, guess what? That's going to the, well, first of all, you pick that Digimon, the play cost, you clear their board, and then you get to put it at the bottom of their deck. Like, there goes your win con, your board's empty, and I have a big body now. And it's an on-play win digivolving. So, I mean, it could cost 11 or it could cost 3. And that in itself, I think going forward too, just in a regular, like, standard thing, is going to be crazy because now somebody Izzy's, and then on your turn, you're like, okay, Izzy was useless, and now you sorted out your cards, whatever, and now they're gone.
They're gone. Yeah, you changed the order of that stuff.
And that's the thing too. I think a lot of people. I like the fact that there's so much on play because now it's a bigger incentive to just play. Like turn 2, you can just do it. Drop the everyone. Okay, you have 10 memory now. Have fun because it's sealed.
Yeah.
So there's really no wombo combos you can do on me. And it's an uncommon. Mill is going to be huge because you have the Ghoulmon, which is a wild card, and a Demon Lord, by the way. And then the Skull Satamon. So the Skull Satamon's an on-play when digivolving as well. So there's Mill built into this set.
Yeah.
And then Sealed, if you can manipulate their deck and then also mill them out, and like, so say like you were able to see that Wargray, and you just mill them, you just drop a Skull Satamon, their Wargray's in the trash, how are they going to get that back?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So
what I like about that whole idea too is I've noticed with pre-release, right, is a lot of times when you get to the middle to end stage of the round when you're going against somebody, and you can just tell they're whiffing. Either waiting on the 6 to make a difference, or they're waiting on a 3 to start raising, and to start evolving and building their stack. So if you can take that deck manipulation and you can maybe just get them stuck with level 5s on their hand, and you send 3s, 4s, 6s to the bottom of the deck, it's gonna be really interesting because hard playing a level 5 is not horrible, but it generally doesn't warrant, the worth, right? Like compared to other things, right? Because a lot of times in pre-release, you go with the strategy of, for me at least, dropping as many cheap level 3s as I can, swinging, being aggressive, getting the pressure on, all right? Or for me, too, just digivolving up to that level 5, especially if it's a big 10K, 9K, 8K level 5. Most of the time they live in pre-release. You swing and you hit something or whatever. And then I kind of save my level 6s for the board removal or a big blocker or some sort of strategy or whatever. But pre-release is really fun. I'm bummed we're not going to be able to do it, but good reason, right? We're going to regional, so it is what it is, man. It's going to be a blast, and hopefully you guys jump in the comments after you guys do your pre-release and let us know how you do because we want to hear about it.
Yeah, because I know, typically you either go full aggro or you go more control.
I think it kind of depends, like, your play style, right?
Well, that's how I've always looked at it. So I'm like, I got a lot of control cards, so I guess I'm going control. Or if, I got a lot of cheap bodies. But I think with some of these cards that are coming out, more people are going to try to have to learn how to play control, at least just for pre-release. Because, like I said, with that Evermon, you can clear the board. But then also, March of the Fishes is an insane option.
The whole Gomamon stuff in general. The egg, the level 3, the March of the
jamming,
Fishes.
The Ghost Summon, which trashes sources, which is going to be huge in pre-release too. When attacking, trash any Digivolution source. Yeah. Just going forward in blue alone, and then you can do that. That's out of control. So I'm glad we're getting to where you can just pick a source to trash. Because it's like,
yes,
I'm going to trash your Greymon X antibody.
And that kind of feels like what blue, I know I talked about it with yellow, it kind of felt like what blue should have been able to do from the beginning because the starter deck cards literally were stripping sources, right? The starter deck cards, the mat, when you strip a source, gain a memory, suspended for the 2 costs ST2 mat, it kind of always felt like it was going in that direction. So it's going to be interesting to see if BT14 is kind of that soft reboot, refresh, reset, whatever, that we were talking about a while ago, where it's going to, change the meta. A lot of people, good place to jump in, start the game now. And I'm kind of liking these little these ace cards. I'm looking forward to the inclusion, and I'm looking forward to see all the creative stuff people come up with for sure.
Oh, we skipped over the biggest thing coming out of BT14. That's the Lugamon.
Oh yeah. I'm all in on Lugamon. I'm so excited.
So it's gonna be tricky too, like that, because that's another
that's gonna be so cool.
Well, that's another mechanic they're bringing into. It's like your opponent's turn doesn't start until they're at 3 memory or more, and so it's like. It's a double-edged sword because if they don't have the tamer and you were trying to choke them, now you're kind of like, great, now I guess I'm dropping another body and sending them to 5. And so all that stuff too is I'm gonna say it now. Don't get hung up on those cards in pre-release, like the Tamers. I think we see it all the time where people try and play the specific archetype, especially out of 6 packs. It's extremely difficult to do. I mean, yeah, if you get the rares and the supers, go for it, sure. But the odds of that happening are pretty slim. I mean, obviously, we do a box, so it's easy for players to do the Digi-Police and the Sukum Online.
Especially Digi-Cross when when Cross Art first came out, BT10, that was...
And the Hunters, you can do the Hunters too, especially if you've got the Quartzmon, because... Obviously, but because like typically the pull rates is 2 uncommons per box, 2 copies of an uncommon per box. But I mean, like, don't get hung up on that because I don't think there's any memory setting Tamers.
I don't remember. Yeah, I have to double check. Well, the purple one, I think maybe the Mind Link.
I mean, if you have the obviously, I don't. Yeah, maybe. And always play the memory setting Tamers. Always.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter which one it is. If you're
sometimes I just don't play Tamers in my pre-release.
I mean, it makes sense.
I know why people do, and I feel like when I lose, I always think to myself, is it because I'm not playing a Tamer? And then I go back and look at my pile of Tamers, and I'm like, I pulled one memory set. What was that one card gonna do to help me, right? But I'll just do a quick summary of your advice, and I'll throw in some of my 2 cents too, even though I'm not doing this pre-release. What I think the best thing we agree on for you to do when you're doing pre-release, get your packs, open them up, sort by level 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, sort by options, Tamers. And what I kind of like to do, because sometimes you don't really get a lot of super rares, but sometimes you do, and most of the time you're at level 6 or whatever.
I'll give you at least one.
I put them in a separate pile as well. And then I kind of work. I look at the options I get first, and I go, okay, what do I have for kill spells? What do I have for removal, right? Because, for example, Red Gaia Force, right? Obviously not in this set, but if that was a card for pre-release and I got a copy or 2 of Gaia Force, I would go, okay, I should play a lot of red, so let's keep that in mind when I'm picking my level 3s. Because when you get to 3s, sometimes you have just enough for your ratios, sometimes you don't. So if you have to take 1 or 2 out, we'll keep an extra red one or a yellow one, depending on what options I'm choosing to play, etc. And then, you kind of just work your way up, cheap Evo, high DP. And then it also helps, too, if you start at your level 6s, you can kind of go, okay, these are my removal cards, these are my blockers, these are my significant abilities, whatever. Let's pick. I think I've been liking about 3 level 6s in pre-release.
Oh, wow.
But I know, and that's why I think that maybe don't take that piece of advice. But it's interesting because sometimes if you play too many 6s in a 40-card deck, you already cut down by 10. You got to cut down all your other ratios. But if you cut your low end too much, you're going to whiff and brick and not have your 3s to draw. So it's an interesting balance for sure.
Well, that's why I think it's going to be wild because there are so many on-play Digimon right now. And plus the level 4s themselves are pretty cheap to play. Like a lot of them are just 4 costs.
Especially that jamming you were talking about.
Yeah, so, and then evades in this. So, like round 2, if you know your opponent has that Ebamon, you can just evade your dude. Yeah. And so I like what you're saying though. I mean, because I think 6 is pretty standard in a 6. 3 level 6s is pretty standard in a 6-pack.
Yeah.
Because I remember having to play the Jet Mervamon on that pre-release.
You're like, I don't want to play Jet Mervamon.
But she was good at that pre-release. She got down suspended a couple of times and then swing again. I like, I mean, you're saying the right things as far as ratios go because those 3s, it's so rough to get the right amount of level 3s. Obviously play your eggs because typically you're maybe gonna get 3 in a 6-pack. 5 if you're lucky. If you get 1 almost a pack.
Yeah.
It's very rare. But luckily there's the pre-release rule to where you can play the rookie in their hatch.
I will say in pre-release, if you end up getting 5 eggs, what I did one time, and I think I did it with great success, is I ended up going to 4 eggs because I wanted a consistent ability or I wanted a consistent color more than I wanted that 5th egg coming up. And that actually worked out for me. But I think the circumstances were different versus a box for a 6-pack, right? So it depends on that. And then the 3s, the only reason why I bring up maybe playing 3 level 6s and the fact you're playing a 40-card deck is if, let's say, you do get 15 level 3s in your 6-packs, right? Or let's say you get, what happens if you get, or maybe even 13, 14, 12, right? If you follow the math and you cut down your numbers equally, you may not even be able to get the game going if you don't have the 3s to Digivolve. So I would almost stick with your normal number of level 3s that you're comfortable with in a deck.
8.
Whether it's 8, I don't do 8. Like 12, 10, 9, or somewhere between 9 and 14 3s, ideally, depending on how comfortable you are, how good your on-plays are of your level 4s, and how cheap the Digivolution cost is. But I'm just a huge fan of Turbo and pre-release, and so I'd be curious to see if that makes a comeback. But again, I'm a little jealous because we're not going to be there. But again, regional.
Less competition for me. And for whatever reason, people were scared when I show up to pre-release. I'm like, hey, man, I get the same odds as you.
Yeah. Oh, I will say that my last piece of advice for pre-release, and this comes from personal experience against playing against you specifically in BT10 pre-release, is I tried to do the Bloom Lord strategy. And what happened to me is I was able to successfully do the whole Bloom Lord where you play a bunch of bodies, but guess what? They're all suspended in 3,000 power. And what did you do to them? You just ran right over them. You just killed them all off. And I was like, there went all my momentum. I have nothing to show for that ability. So that piece of advice is, yes, if you can do an ability, but if it leaves you vulnerable, be careful. Don't do it just because you got some brand new cards and you're trying to do something like that. So I'll always
unless you want to say you did it just to do it. I mean,
I was honestly trying to beat you. So what I was doing with the Bloom Lord is I was like, all right, boom, Sunflows and Agitars and Cherries and all this stuff, where I was able just to build a wide board. But again, they were all suspended, and all you had to do was you had your three bodies.
I think I had Venus.
Something like that too, where you just got rid of my board was cleared, and I was like, I went through half of my deck, drew, because I'd drawn so much and digivolving and playing bodies, went through so many cards, and I have nothing to show for it except for the fact that I got to say I grew a bunch of flowers. So I still love the Bloom Lord strategy. It's such a cool deck.
Well, one final piece of advice: have fun.
Oh yeah.
Don't be a jerk. Like, just have fun. Help your opponent. Read the cards together. Learn together. Grow together. And, look, it's a growing experience. It's a learning experience because you're going to learn a lot about yourself as a player, whether it's your first pre-release or, your 8th pre-release.
Definitely agree.
It helps you grow as a player. It helps you learn new cards, especially if you do happen to play against an off-meta player and they're playing these cards. Because the only way you're going to get game knowledge is by learning the cards, learning the sets, and that's how, we'll get to it in a minute, but that's how I got to my card of the week. But pre-release is everybody's growing together. Don't be one of those people like, no, you paid the memory or you hit the trash, whatever. Like, that's not what this game is about, and that's likely why I like.
Let's say that for regionals,
right? Well, I like that too about Digimon more than like MTG is because we're like, I'm not gonna say we're less competitive, but I think the camaraderie is there and it's understandable, and like you're not gaining any knowledge from just putting a card down on the table. You're not getting any, and you're not learning anything on the board. So you're like, oh wait, like, yeah, I'm not gonna play that. I'll play this instead. Like, just help each other out, man. That's all it is. And then, I mean, because there's only one card to the winner, so I mean, unless your store does like certain tiered pricing, which is fine. But I mean, at the end of the day, you're getting new cards, you're learning new cards, and we get to use these in a week.
And you get to use cards that you would never use ever
and that's the
in
best
another
part.
format, right? But no, I think you're absolutely right. Again, guys, I know our scene has done an especially good job. We all have the same end goal, and that is to stay positive and build the Digimon scene, because this is a franchise that we love, a card game that we love, that we want to see more and more support of. And the only way to do that is to be positive, build that support, and let people come over and over again because they have such a good time playing the game and they enjoy your group of guys. But you had a perfect segue, man. You know what time it is. Card of the week. Yep. What do you got for me?
So, with the restrictions announced in purple and being a purple player, I had to do some digging. Sure. And I saw, which led to some organizing. So, I've been saying this.
Worst part about card games is organizing.
But I've been saying this for a while. EX2 is probably the most relevant set to date still.
Okay. Okay.
I think there's a lot of strong cards, a lot of the tribal stuff. It's not like Guillomon's going anywhere, Galamon's going anywhere anytime soon. We're going to get to use the Dobermon soon. That's starting to make people are starting to play that now because of the restrictions, the Dobermons, and then with Dark Animals coming up. So it led me to this card, I think it works great with, like I was saying, Skull Mammoth, and then also Blast Evo Metal Garurumon. It's going to be Mephistomon.
Okay.
From EX2. If you don't know what it does, it's a 7 cost, 7k body. On play, draw 2, trash 2.
Yeah.
Inheritable when attacking, once per turn. When attacking, you may trash 1 card to gain a memory. It's a great psych out move. It's a great way to like kind of just filter through your deck with these restrictions. Because you can drop a turn 1, draw 2, trash 2. It can maybe cost 5 if you get trash 2 Nidhogg's. But then if you're on the draw. You can kind of psych your opponent out if you have the Metal Garurumon in hand and Blast Evo and have turn pass. And then with the Skull Mammoth Mon, because my biggest thing with Skull Mammoth is having a way to trash both turns, because it's an all turns effect when a card is trashed, play a level 4 or lower. So I can put the Skull Mammoth on and do that for the turn, the Digivolve for the turn, but then on my turn again, I can trash, gain a memory, so I can trash my level 4 and then play that level 4 back out.
Sure.
So I gain a memory and I get the cheat out of body, and my dude's still attacking. And I think, and so I put in the, it works really, really well with the Black Gato Universal or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think Mephistomon, I think it's a great tech. I don't know if it's going to get any love because it is 3D Digivolve and it's an on-play effect. So it'll be interesting to see if like anybody else gravitates towards that.
Yeah.
But I like being able to just drop it, draw 2, trash 2. Because if I don't see Metal Garurumon in my hand, I'm not going to be upset because maybe I'll draw into it.
Sure.
And then, like I said, you just blast Evo on top. Draw.
That's what I was thinking, right?
Yeah, you draw 1 and then trash 3, and it's your turn. Yeah, they get the check. And then and I'm playing a bunch of security Digimon. But I think Mephistomon is a good enough body because it gets around Crimson Blaze also. Sure. Because it is 7K.
7K, not 6. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's expensive, but on turn 1, who cares? It's like, I'll just draw 2, trash 2. If I'm lucky, it'll cost 5.
Yep. No, I'm definitely curious to see the direction the game is going to go with all these blast or the ace cards where the level prior, whether it's the ace 5, the ace 6, and then hard playing level 4s, hard playing level 5s, for the on-play abilities or whatever it may be to start setting up super early blast evolve turns to counter your opponent. So definitely a great card of the week, man. Good choice.
And there's only one Mephistomon in the whole game right now, which is weird, but...
Yeah. Purple has a tough time because when purple becomes like a main protagonist thing, like the Lugamon stuff or the Gabumon stuff, there's not a lot of room for the baddies because they're already taking that spot because most of the time they fit in purple.
Right.
Or if it's all Demon Lords, well, you're going to play the level 5s associated with the Demon Lord level 6. Sometimes there's just not room for our boy Mephisto, so we need some more. But... great card of the week, man. Mine is going to be because of the movie that I'm hoping is really good. Can't wait to talk about it in next week's episode of the review, or maybe I'll be disappointed. Who knows? Mine's going to be the new promo Hawkmon.
Nice.
Because I have just been craving some Hawkmon Armor Rush and needed something else. And when I picked this card, it was kind of more to the fact that all of these level 3s are getting support for the Armor Rush. It's the whole series, Adventure 2. And it's just like a general positivity towards Bandai giving the U.S. market some new content for Digimon. Because, you know, everyone always talks about why Pokemon is so successful and all this stuff. They've done such a good job building a brand. And, you know, Digimon's got a lot of catching up to do. Not saying they'll ever get to that level. But, you know, here I'm going to be positive about it. And I would love to see that. And releasing movies like this, releasing reboot series, having strong support for the card game, having a good fan base, that is all steps that are needed to do this. So this Hawkmon, you are kind of like the symbol for all of that.
And your Hawkmon Armor Rush.
And my Hawkmon Armor Rush, which I can't wait to start playing when I get my full playset of this. So that, the Yole, the Tamers, they're all going to be a lot of fun pieces to a lot of decks. So jump in the comments. Let us know what of these level 3s you're going to do. I cannot wait to see some Armadillo Rush lists in the thing. I can't wait to start getting some BT14 cards. The Tamer Party Packs are going to be fun. Or the little box topper, like the Shadramon promo, the Nightmon promo. We got some fun things coming your way. Please stay tuned to the channel. Hopefully we have tons of good content that interests you about the regionals trip and all this stuff. And if you you like us, like, comment, subscribe. If not, share this with all your friends, and we'll be sure to see you next week.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you guys so much. Bye.